Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to the last, unfortunately, webinar to raise awareness about celiac disease. Today we have the honor to have Professor Irina Kimblemska and Professor Tatiana Saviskaya, and I apologize already for my terrible pronunciation of their names. And that has been thanks to Katya, one of our representatives of the Belarusian Celiac Society. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to have such a distinguished panel. We will discuss a very, very interesting topic about edible packing and what is there for celiacs. There are more and more investigation about it, and we certainly have the opportunity to have top scientists to explain or walk us through that topic. Professor Tatiana Saviskaya is a professor of physical chemistry in the chemistry department of the Belarusian State University. Her scientific interest area includes physics and chemistry of natural polymers and their composites, processing of polymer solutions into fibers, films, membranes by green technologies, design and production of biodegradable and edible films, and coating based on natural polysaccharides for food packing. She has many publications and awards, of which I would like to emphasize an award that she got in 2015 of the President of the Republic of Belarus for the achievements of the social economic development of the Republic. Congratulations for such a distinction. Professor Irina Kimblemska, it's a PhD in chemistry, associated professor of the radiation chemistry and chemical and pharmaceutical technologies department of the Faculty of Chemistry of the Belarusian State University. She also has a tremendous CV, working experience of almost 30 years. She's a developer of the green chemistry and cleaner production, which is a subject that she taught at the Faculty of the Chemistry since 2009, and they can correct me if I'm saying something that is not accurate. And she's a founder of the educational direction Green Chemistry at the National Children Technopark activity since 2001. She has participated in different international and national projects focused on the environmental monitoring and ecological problem solving. So it's really, really ahead of time. And she is also author of many publications. And therefore, I think it is a great honor to have you both. Before I give them the floor, I would like to give a little bit the house ruling of the webinar. As you know, we will have 30 minutes presentation from them, and then we will open the floor for questions and answers to give you the opportunity to ask questions to our speakers. And before that, please allow me, as always, a few words about celiac disease and who we are. So celiac disease is an autoimmune disease caused by the ingestion of food containing gluten, which is a type of protein that can be found in cereals such as wheat, barley, and rye. And celiac disease may affect about 1 to 2% of the population. If it remains undiagnosed, this can result in symptoms ranging from minor discomfort to life-threatening conditions such as severe anemia. Today, the only known effective treatment is a very strict lifelong gluten-free diet, free from contamination. And that's why the topic of today is so important. The Association of European Celiac Societies, AOACS, is a non-for-profit umbrella organization made of national celiac societies in Europe and beyond, such as Harmony Without Gluten, that is based in Belarus. And together with our members, we represent the voice of celiac patients and their relatives in over 40 countries in Europe and beyond. We promote strategic partnerships to raise awareness on celiac disease, We encourage research for improving the life of celiacs, early diagnosis, and of course, the cure of this disease, and better access to safe gluten-free food. The AUACS owns the AUACS standard for prepacking food products and the cross-grain licenses system, which is managed by our members in different nationalities. Thanks to it, we allow thousands of safe gluten-free food products being available in the market and easily recognized by consumers. Please notice that by participating in this webinar, you agree that we will record it and post it eventually in our YouTube channel for public access. And please do not hesitate to keep yourself mute so that the conversation with professors goes very smoothly, and we will give you the floor afterwards, after the presentation. Without further delay, I give the floor to Katja, who will, I think she's very happy to be with her professors. Please, the floor is yours, and thank you again.
First of all, Veronica, thank you very much for invitation. It's an honor for us to be invited here to give a lecture on our scientific topic. And as Julie was published in the Italian magazine, I made an article with Susanna, that's our ACS, it's all about people. And me personally, I graduated at this chemical faculty around 15 years ago. And of course, each person takes his way. But then if you are passionate about something and you're still in the contact and networking with the professors, with Tatiana Savitska and Irina Kimlenko, then it comes out that we have mutual issue to discuss. And I would like to give the floor to them to provide us scientific information. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Katya, for introduction. And today we propose you to discuss some kind of issues about edible packaging and what is there for celiacs. And first of all, I would like to introduce Katya as our idea inspire, because we started to work with this packaging without gluten, according to the Katya's advice. Now we are seated at the building of the Faculty of Chemistry of the Belarusian State University, and you can see the building where we teach students to become green chemists. I would like to give for all of us taking part in this discussion the definition of green chemistry. According to IUPAC, and you know that nobody can to give the definitions better than IUPAC. And according to green chemistry, this is the invention, design, and application of chemical products and processes to reduce or to eliminate the use and generation of hazardous substances. It is very important for all chemists today all over the world, because a lot of people know that chemistry gives us a lot of things for our life, and in one at the same time, chemistry gives us the pollution of the environment with the help of chemical industry. Celiac disease is widespread and often underdiagnosed. And presently, the only treatment for celiac patients lifelong avoidance of any food, drinks, sauce, or dressing contain gluten. Gluten is the kind of protein molecules. It is not the only substance. It is a group of protein molecules. And as for our chemical look at the gluten, We see that it is annually renewable and perfectly biodegradable polymer. Then it's very interesting, its non-food application for the creation of biodegradable materials. A lot of chemists work with wheat gluten plastics. These plastics are fully biodegradable without releasing toxic products, and the process of their production is rather simple. And these plastics could replace cellulosic-based materials and find application for the development of composite materials, films for different usage, for example, for packaging, and so on and so forth. If we compare the properties of gluten plastics with the properties of common plastics, for example, polyethylene, polypropylene. You can see at this picture, this is the characteristic of the strengths of gluten plastics here, and this is polyethylene, high density and low density polyethylene. You can see that it is approximately the same level, but the advantage of gluten is that it is biodegradable. Then there are a lot of publications about the films made on the basis of gluten. The properties of these films are rather good for food packaging. For example, they are flexible, strong, heat-sealable, and relatively transparent. But they have poor water barrier properties, and they have very good properties as some kind of gas barrier, approximately for oxygen and carbon dioxide. These gluten films are useful for packaging, for the production of pouches, bags, sachets, and so on and so forth. This kind of packaging reduces waste, and I would like to give you one example. For example, wheat gluten coatings. They used for the extending of the shelf life of strawberry. You can see here, this is the weight loss of the strawberry during time. This is the control example, namely without packaging. This is the packaging into the PVC pack. PVC, it means polyvinyl chloride. It is rather good and popular packaging, but it is not good for our health and for the environment. And this is the different materials, pouch, pack, and wrap based on gluten. You can see we can use these films as the material for packaging. But this is for a lot of people, but not for celiac patients. They can say, no, this kind of packaging, it is good for the environment, but dangerous for our health. And today, a lot of researchers try to propose for this kind of people gluten-free products. This is, first of all, food products, but you know that there are some problems with the quality and taste of these products. Ina, maybe you can add some.
Nowadays, some gluten-free flours are proposed. For example, chestnut flour for butter, kernel gem flour, tiger nut flour for bread, yellow pepper flour for spaghetti, different types of high proteins flours to make pasta, debitarate seed lupin flour for cakes. And as you can see at this picture, there are almost no differences between bread made from wheat and bread made from gluten-free flours. Nowadays, common gluten-free starches are corn, tapioca starch, and potato starch.
Our area of research is edible films and coatings. This is the only type of biodegradable polymer packaging that doesn't require individual collection, because individual collection is some kind of issue all over the world. And it doesn't require special disposal conditions. Edible films and coating are biodegradable polymeric materials that demonstrate the mechanism of biodegradation under the action of intracellular and non-cellular enzymes, is alternative to the microbial mechanism which takes place in the environmental degradation by the bacteria or fungi. But we have to take into account that this is not the inner packaging. This is the primary packaging for edible ingredient. For example, this is the principle of orange. You see, this is the inner, very tender white skin of orange, and this is the out of skin. Edible film is like this kind primary film of primary film, or like this kind of orange skin. You know that non-biodegradable plastic pollutes every corner of Earth. And now you can read in the literature that in the Pacific Ocean we have the entire island of garbage, not smaller than our republic. It looks like Belarus. You can see this one. All over the world, scientists and producers propose the biodegradable alternative to the conventional plastics, but they are not real sustainable. For example, cellulose. This is the cellulosic paper bags, cellulosic films. They are very good packaging material, but the production of cellulose is very dangerous for our environment. A lot of wastewater, a lot of gas emission, and so on and so forth. And in this way, it is not the sustainable solution for the packaging problem. Several years ago, in 2015, the European Commission proposed to reduce the consumption of plastic carrier bags. with a wall thickness below 15 microns and propose to reduce the consumption of this packaging to the end of 2025 year below approximately 40 pieces. Is this quantity high or no? You can see now the Middle European citizen use 198 this kind of plastic carrier bags. In different countries, they decided to follow to the strict ban, for example, in Australia, Hong Kong, Kenya, and so on and so forth. Even the sale of plastic bags can help you to be in the prison. In some countries, they propose to reduce due to fees, taxes, and so on. And there were the proposal not use any packaging as well, without packaging. This measure was very popular in Germany and Indonesia. There are waste bulk store were very popular in these countries where buyers pack food by themselves. Is it convenient or no? It depends from the consumers. Then they proposed paper or long life bags. But this proposal has the other side of usage. For example, if we wash several times these long life bags, nobody can be sure that E. coli danger will help us to become ill. And there was at the University of Pennsylvania the article about this problem. Then later, this policy didn't give any results. And in 2018, the European Commission proposed another solution, a European strategy for plastics in a circular economy. What is the main idea of this strategy? To use mainly such kind of plastics, then we can recycling or recovery and use a lot of times. Is it measure good or no? Today there is no the definite answer because nobody knows how many times we can recycling one and the same, for example, packaging. And because this, after the recycling, these plastics can have some kind of pollutions, but this strategy exists. We have found for us some kind of place in this problem, and we decided to produce edible films. As the raw material, we use starch from corn and starch from potato, not from wheat. These starch films are very popular in China, but the production of these films in China is very difficult from the conditions for their workers, and only skillful Chinese women can work at these conditions. You see, very wet atmosphere and rather high temperature. And in addition, if we produce the film from pure starch, these films are not strong and elastic. According to the chemical nature of starch, you see, they are not whole film. You see, they are not strong, but inspired this fact, this candy packed in these edible starch films are very popular in China. One university invited us as the experts to help them to make starch films more strong. And we proposed to add to this starch polymer, to add some kind of another biodegradable polymer, alginate, sodium alginate. And we had a success and produced rather strong and elastic films. Here you can see our pilot scale equipment, and this is the film casting in process. This is our films colored with different food dyes. And now I would like to give you some examples of possible application of this kind of film. For example, this is for stick candy packaging. And in this case, we can not only to dissolve the problem of sticking of candy, we also can add some kind of additives. It's very interesting to add anti-caries additives for the health of our teeth. And in any case, the candy with edible packaging is very tasty. Sometimes more tasty, because we can to add into the film some kind of juice, some kind of, for example, useful additive. Later I will tell about this. It's very convenient to produce packaging for portion food, for sugar, for example, for porridge, and so on and so forth. We were the first in the world which proposed to package honey. It's very convenient to eat a small package with honey inside. And we go ahead and introduced into this film tea extract, and we have tea extract in the film, and we also add honey into the film. For what purpose? We can dissolve this film inside of hot water, and as a result we have tea with honey. It's very tasty. Katya can confirm this taste. Once American astronaut Anna Lee Fisher visited our university, and after the tasting of this kind of honey package, she says honey in edible packaging is what we lacked in space, because it's very tasty, it's very useful, and there is no waste, because the problem of waste is very important in the limited space of the spaceship. For example, one more direction, edible tartlets. For baking cakes, we can make cake and eat with this packaging. It's more convenient to eat, and we do not need to throw out the paper after we eat the cake. It's very interesting to make edible packaging for baking cupcakes, for example, for children party. It's very convenient. Then we can pack a lot of kind of soft candies, marmalade, for example, and we can use edible coating instead of sugar or instead of wax. We can pack spices in this edible kind of packaging. For example, edible packaging for instant noodle spices, it's very convenient. We simply add hot water and we can taste this noodle without the changing of their taste. It's very convenient to use this edible film as an alternative to the paper for frying poultry, for example. You see, this is convenient paper, and this is our edible film. We can pack meat or fish, then fry, and we can fry without oil. It also very healthy, and all juice stays inside of our meat or fish. Here you can see the result. And the starch is the main component of this film, and it's very tasty after frying to eat this kind of meat. We also proposed to make the inner size of butter packaging because of starch films have a very good barrier properties for oxygen, and it's very it's very unexpected that after storage in this kind of packaging, the taste of butter become better. It's very interesting, but this is we think that it is the process of the aging of butter, like the aging of cheese. And in this case, the taste of butter become more interesting. We can also produce some kind of edible decorations films for cakes, for drinks, and so on and so forth. We had an interesting joint project with Vietnamese Institute of Tropical Technologies, because in Vietnam they have a very great problem with the storage of tropical fruits because of very wet and hot climate. And we proposed to make the edible films for packaging with the extract of very famous fruit in Vietnam. You can see langan here, langan. And also we use pitahaya extract and make films and the covering for avocado, for example, and we have success in the more prolonged shelf life of avocado after covering with this kind of films. One more interesting coating we produced based on polyvinyl alcohol and chitosan with the addition of silver nanoparticles. We covered blueberries, you can see, banana as well, and tomato. And we also have very interesting proposal for making trays, you can see, for frozen fruit based on brand, for example. And we packed manga, we packed manga, and after 3 months of storage in the refrigerator, in the frozen state, we take out these fruits and lift them into the refrigerator, but at the temperature of 5 degrees. And you can see this is in the traditional tray based on synthetic polymers. And this is in our tray based on brand. And one more interest of this kind of packaging, you can eat manga, and this tray you can give to your animals, and they can eat this tray with pleasure, I think. And when we produce these trays at the laboratory, our students also try to eat these trays with pleasure as well. Then we also proposed edible films for cleaning teeth without water. This film is edible, and it's also very interesting solution for spacemen and so for travelers and so on and so forth. And in any case, when you would like to clean your teeth, but you have no water with you. And one more interesting thing that we can look at the edible films not only as the alternative to the non-biodegradable packaging. This film can be as a food product, because we can add some kind of taste to this film, and we can to add vitamins, drugs, etc. Now, all over the world are very popular edible or dispersed films. Instead of drug capsules, tablets, and so on and so forth. And we work in this direction. You can see these films are named oral strips. You see, with different additives, with tea, with some kind of plants, and so on and so forth. It depends from our desire. As for our topic, for example, we have read that anemia is a disease which is also frequently associated with celiac disease because of poor iron absorption or a reduction in the consumption of products which fortified with iron. And we developed oral strips with ascorbate of iron. You can see here this kind of oral strips. It can be very useful. Here we also add to these films activated carbon. Activated carbon is also very useful for the people with celiac disease in some kind of their, if they ate the gluten contain products on the occasion, and so on and so forth. We discussed with Katya some kind of the example of future recipes for celiac-oriented oral strips. And we think that it is possible to introduce, for example, folic acid into the film, some kind of vitamins, B12, D, and so on and so forth. We can also add some kind of minerals, calcium, magnesium, zinc. I told about the iron and some kind of other elements. It depends from our desire, from our fantasy, and from our tasks, and from our needs. And now I would like to thank all of our participants for the attention. Thank you for your attention, and we all are ready to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Professor. It was a very impressive presentation. I think we all learned a lot. I don't know if there are, okay, I see already the first question. Thank you very much, Susanna Newholt from Italy, for taking the environmental issue within our community. A very clear presentation. I think we will ask you for the article to the magazine. They would like to publish it in their magazine too. And the question is, do you know at what extent gluten coating is now used on the food market? In your opinion, is it already a real danger for celiacs?
As I told, now a lot of researchers worked under the packaging based on gluten, but I do not know the films, namely on the market, from gluten, because the scale of this research is the laboratory scale now. This is the laboratory scale, this is the research papers, and so on and so forth. Because with gluten films, the producers have some kind of problems. They are not elastic, and they are not very strong. A lot of researchers work under the solution of these problems, but these works are only at the laboratory scale, not at the market.
Okay, thank you. But if I understand, yeah, sorry.
The last part of the question, yes, if they make the film from pure gluten, not gluten-contained material, from pure gluten, I think it's very dangerous for celiac patients.
If I understood correctly, just before I asked the question from Andrea, the films you are developing, they are all safe for celiacs. They will all be safe, right? So yeah. You are already offering an alternative to whatever the market
is. Yes, alternative because we use corn starch, some kind of bean starch, potato starch. These kind of starches do not contain gluten. And in this case, our edible films are
much better.
Not dangerous, are very useful for celiac patients.
Exactly. And so I will combine Andrea's question with mine. What is the time frame you will think it is for gluten-free films or for gluten films edible packing like yours to be in the market?
We have ready technology ready for the industrial scale, but we are waiting for the investors. We are waiting for the investors for making the industrial scale production. Now we only produced our films at the laboratory, but we checked the technology at the laboratory scale machine. It works.
Okay, so the scale is still missing.
Yeah.
There is another very interesting question. Is there anything that an average celiac could do to promote this type of solutions? Can we talk to governments, to the industry? What could we do to organize ourselves and promote these solutions?
Maybe it is necessary to find the investors with celiac disease, and maybe in this case he will be really interested in the organization of the production of this kind of films. Maybe this is the main task for this moment.
Yeah, and indeed there is a question. I will say more a reflection for us from the AOACS to think together what will be the impact of these gluten-free edible films in our certification system. Of course, we will need to consider what are the impacts. We haven't done that assessment yet. So that's why this presentation is even more appreciated, absolutely, because it gives us more food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
Gluten-free food.
It is food for thought. I absolutely agree. Mm-hmm. I see a question about the kind of starch. I repeated corn starch, potato starch, and bean starch. Bean starch is it's rather expensive, but it's very good for films. What kind of brand? It's a pity, but it is wheat brand, and it is not for celiac people, but for their animals.
I wonder if at this point of the development, you mentioned already that some films will be used as films and others will be or could be used as food. From a legislation perspective, do you think the consumer will need to know the ingredients of those films whenever used in, let's say, strawberries or things like that?
I know that, for example, oral sticks are at the market. For example, in USA, they have oral sticks with Listerine, the freshener for our breath. You can buy these oral sticks at the pharmacy, at the supermarket, and they are very popular. And some kind of pharmaceutical companies also produces their oral sticks with drugs, with some kind of medicines. It's very interesting. For example, at our laboratory, we developed the oral sticks with Validol, maybe. This is for our heart. This is medicine for our heart. It needs to act very quickly. And the time for action is shorter when we put this stick into our mouth. not into our stomach. It's more quick.
Well, there is a good comment as well on the chat. I wonder how we can advocate for a clear labeling at plant-based packing ingredients. Indeed, something that we need to join forces at AOACS to provide more clarity on it. Are there any questions? Because I'm aware of the time. We've, as usual, we have surpassed the initial time, but I think it was worth it, and I can see it because nobody has left the webinar, which shows that we were extremely interested and delighted for your presentation, Professor. But if you don't have any questions, then I think it's fair to give you free time on Friday, on the beginning of the weekend, and wish you to stay tuned for coming webinars. I think this is a very good way of learning together and putting ideas to move ahead.
Thank you for your invitation.
You are most welcome.